For this last chart on exponential functions 1, we're going to have to refer back to those previous graphs that we made on page 2. So the first question, is f an increasing or decreasing function? So what does that mean? That means that as x increases, so going from -2 to -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, as x increases, what happens with my f of x value? Does it increase or decrease? 1/27th, 1/29th, 1/3, 1, 3. You see it also increases. So the answer for this, for y equals 3 to the x, is that it increases as the x increases. For the f of x is equal to -1/3, I'm going to switch it over here to this one, and we'll take a look at this chart. And again, as the x gets bigger here, what happens with the f of x, it goes from 27 to 9 to 3, so it's getting smaller consistently down the page. So as x increases, f of x equals to 1/3 raised to the x is going to decrease. So the y values go down as the x values go up. And you can see by looking at the graph, it goes down as well. The next question is, what is the y-intercept? So the y-intercept is where does the graph cross the y-axis, and that's the point where x is 0, and in this case it crosses at 1, and you can see it right there. So y-intercept is going to be 1. On the other graph, it is also 1 as well. So 1. What is the value of x where f of x is equal to 0? So this is remember, f of x represents y. So this is asking, where does y equal to 0? So looking at our graph here, I'll look at this one first. Looking at our graph here, y is 0 on the x-axis, or wherever it crosses the x-axis. Does this graph ever cross the x-axis and actually touch it? And the answer is no, it does not. So where the value of x, where f of x is 0, there is none. And that same thing is going to be true here, because again, the graph skims along the top of the x-axis but never touches it. So f of x is never equal to 0. So again, this is going to be none. What is the domain of f of x equals 3 to x? Remember that the domain goes from the leftmost value to the rightmost value, and you can see this is an arrow right here going out, so it continues to go to the left and it continues to go to the right. So this one is going to be all real numbers. The domain is all real numbers, so we'll put this r right there. When we look at y equals 1/3 to the x, left side is going forever to the left, right side is going forever to the right, and it also is going to be all real numbers. Now, how about the range for these two functions? Remember, range is going to be the bottom, the lowest value to the top value, and you see here the lowest value here is right above the x-axis. So what we're going to say is that the y's are all greater than 0. Here's where it's 0. We don't have any negative y values down here anywhere. So y's are always bigger than 0. So I'm going to write there, y is greater than 0. It's never equal to it. And the same thing in this situation. The y values never touch the x-axis, and they're always above it. So again, we'll say that y is greater than 0. All right, so finally, we have here that the video check. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you do these problems. You're going to copy these problems in your notes. Just pause it, copy it, and put your answers in the video check. So if f of x is 5 to the x, find f of 2. Remember, that means to take 2 and plug it into the x value and evaluate it and get an answer. All right, so finish that up and do the video check now.